And all right, welcome back, everyone. This is Ebony again, a.k.a. Fit Mom Diva of Simplicity Health Style. And today we have Miss Brittney with us. How are you, Brittney?
Good. How are you today?
I am awesome. And for those of you that don't know Brittney very well, you may notice that she goes by Brittney and Andrea on social media and in her real life. She's the same person. But for today's intended purposes, we're going to refer to her as Brittney. But if you do choose to stick around to the end as a complimentary gift, I'm going to reward you with something special that's going to help you be able to determine what your natural gifts are, what your personality is, and how you can add value to this world. So as you listen to Brittney today, just think about ways that you can spark your own life in your world and impact the people around you. So Brittney, just to get started, can you start off by sharing a motivational quote, just something that really inspires you, gets you going, and encourages you?
I think that like my mantra or a quote that I use a lot, and I literally put this quote like in all my journals, like when I start off with a new journal, it's from Muhammad Ali, and it is, "I am the greatest." I said that even before I knew I was. And I love that quote so much because I truly believe that when you're not at the space that you want to be at, you have a tendency of discouraging yourself. Like, am I really that good? Or you see people around you that seem to be doing the things that you wish that you were doing. And so I use that quote a lot to reassure myself that I am the greatest. I'm the greatest at what I want to do. I'm the greatest at being myself. Even before I get all the accolades or the success, the quote unquote success of what society deems as successful. So I always use that quote like 24/7. It's like even my IG bio.
That's awesome because the more that you can see quotes like that mean so much to you, the more that you begin to act in that as well. If you believe that you're the best and you're the greatest, well, you're going to act like you're the best and you're the greatest, So, and it may not say that again.
In the most humblest way.
In the humblest way, right, exactly. It may not be that you are able to achieve all of your dreams, but if you're always thinking of yourself as top notch, you'll at least be able to get halfway there, right? Now, yeah, she made a point. You don't want to be thinking that you're God. So when we say that, let me put a disclaimer. Nobody here is God.
No
But
one.
just acting like you're working at your best ability and you're putting your best foot forward. If you're always acting towards that, you're always going to at least get halfway towards your goal because you're always giving it your all. And a lot of times we may exceed our goals because we have that mindset of I can do this and this is something that comes natural to me and I'm going to put my all into it. Just never know what comes with it. So it's always best to have a more positive mindset than think that, oh no, woe is me, I can't do this, I suck. You're not going to get very far with that mentality, right?
And I also think it's important to not like stick to those quote unquote goals you have. Like, you know how you write down like, this is the things that I want, because I've realized very quickly that like life does not care about the goals that I've written down. Like,
Yeah.
and what I deem or what I think that I'm going to be the greatest at, through that journey, I might realize that it's actually something else that I was actually working towards. And it
Yes.
never dawned on me. Like, I used to be a photographer and I was like, I'm going to be the greatest photographer in the world. And this is it. And then I went to school and started doing video. And I was like, wait, I actually think that I want to start directing. And I actually think that I want to do video. So I think that like making sure that you like put forth, like, as you said, like your best effort, and understand that your end goal might not be the end goal that you anticipated, but that doesn't make you any less than great for attempting to go about the journey.
Yeah, and I think we can all identify with that. Sometimes we'll make plans and they might not occur, or it might, half of it might occur. But a lot of times, as long as we're putting forth our best effort and we're doing something that's meaningful to us, it doesn't matter what comes along the way. We're still enjoying the process because we're putting in our best effort and we're still finding something that's meaningful to us. So things change, and I think that's important to embrace all the changes. Can you talk a little bit about that? Talk about a time in your life where maybe you didn't necessarily see the light at the end of the tunnel and you had some challenges come into play, some unforeseen circumstances come into play. Maybe you even changed your opinion and your your goals shifted a little bit. But at the end of the day, you were still able to achieve something great and bring your ideas to fruition.
So I'm definitely kind of going through it at the moment. I started college in 2010 at Morgan State University. And I had adversities my whole entire matriculation at Morgan, from financial aid to having to work 2 jobs. And then I think around 2015, maybe, I decided, well, my mom, she got really sick. My mom has cardiomyopathy, so she has a heart problem. And so I became like really just overwhelmed with so many things. And I got into the point where I felt like, what is college teaching you that you can't teach yourself? So I went through that for a really, really long time. I had left school because of financial aid and just like the overwhelmingness. And I've been diagnosed with manic depression since 2009, I think. So just going through having like mental illnesses, like the mental illness in me, I have this thing where I'm like, I'm not taking medication. I don't want to be brought down by medication. If I ever have to stop, then will I be sad? Like I went through that. So I was like, I'm just going to take a step back. I'm just going to leave school for a while. I'm going to figure out life. And so I went through like this period of me saying like, I don't need school. Like I can do this all on my own. And so it kind of maybe about a year ago, a year and a half, I decided to go back because I realized that continuing and finishing school was more than just the education. Like when I was at Morgan, I got way more than just the education. I got a sense of just like unity. I got a sense of inclusion, family, networking, and it's just so many benefits. And then I realized like, one, I still have to pay those student loans. So might as well have a piece of paper to show for it, but also like it's something that it's weird because I felt lesser than for not having a degree when all of my counterparts did. Even though I'm in the career in which my major was, so it feels like, why do you need it? I still felt lesser, and I still feel lesser. So I definitely made it a mission to go back and finish, because I also don't want to be a person that doesn't finish. I feel like I can't give advice to tell someone, like even right now, I'm wearing a shirt that says support Black colleges. And it's like, can I really like promote things? if I myself don't finish, or if I myself don't put forth that same effort that I'm trying to tell people to. So right. It was definitely like a mental space that I was conflicted in for so long. But I ultimately decided that this is the path that I for myself need to take to make myself feel good, and to know that I have gotten through all the adversities that got me to like the place.
Yeah, and I think that, it's one of those things like you don't have to have it all figured out, and your mind can change. My mind changed on things that I wanted like a year ago, and here it is a year later. I'm like, I don't even care about that anymore. You change, you grow and you change. And I think as long as you're still doing stuff that feels good to you, as you said, you're doing something that feels good to you, you can change your mind. I spoke to a lady probably about 6 months ago or so that had an interest in acting at one point in time. And as time went on, she decided, this isn't really for me anymore. It was for me in that season, but I've decided that now I love marketing, and that's, what I do. And every now and then I might, go to some plays to still appreciate the arts, but my headspace is no longer in acting. And she's like true with that. She's not just saying it because she couldn't get an acting role, because she probably could if she really wanted to. She genuinely just changed her direction. But you can always use your knowledge and experiences and talents that come from different places in your past careers or past jobs or what have you, and utilize that where you are right now. And then what you're doing right now, you're going to be able to utilize in your next step, and so forth. So I think it's okay to just enjoy the process, enjoy the journey of learning and growing and being a human being. And
it helps you learn yourself. It helps you learn like you were saying, like just because you can appreciate something and no longer want to do it, or
Yeah.
you have the full right to decide to not want to do something anymore and commit to not wanting to do it.
Right.
And it's just like a personal space. And like I said, like I probably would be completely fine if I never finished school. Like I probably would live a very fruitful life, you know what I mean? But I remember hearing like if it's stuck in your brain, like if it's something you
Yeah.
then you need to do it. So this was
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like it keeps coming back to me mentally because it feels like unfinished business, or it just feels like something that I need to do. And I still have those moments where like, is this really, is this like, am I doing this for the right reasons? Like, am I doing this just because I see everyone else doing it or am I doing it because I really want to? So I'm definitely still in that space of like understanding my positioning on why I want to do certain things and why I want to let certain things go.
Yeah, you just said something that is so key. If it's something that keeps coming back to you, then that's telling you something. It keeps coming back to you because you feel like it's something that you really want to do. So that's totally different from something that you used to think about doing and your desire is at zero now. But if it keeps coming back to you, then pay attention to that. So I totally agree with that. And I think that sometimes people might not go forward with their dreams or their vision and their goals because they don't necessarily have a lot of support. So as much as they would like to do XYZ, they feel like, but I have to take care of my children. I have to take care of the aging parents. I have to do this. I have to do that. And I really don't have anybody that can really help me learn how to, whatever it is, write a book or build a business, whatever it is. They feel like they don't really have the proper support. And the truth of the matter is that we all have support somewhere. We just haven't found it yet. But can you talk a little bit about maybe your challenges with seeking support in your endeavors and some suggestions that people could do if maybe they are in that situation where they feel like I don't have the proper support to get me from point A to point B?
I definitely, I'm 26 now, and probably about 3 years ago, I had the vision. I was like, I'm moving to LA and I'm going to be all, you know what I mean? I had like these director visions, like dreams and aspirations, and my mom is really sick. So I stayed in Maryland, with kind of the excuse of you want to be here for your mom, which is a valid, it's real.
Yeah.
But also the underlining reasoning was, you're scared. I was really scared. I was like, I'm scared to make that leap. So I'm kind of gonna use like my mom and say that it's 90% her. But I was like, I'm just gonna use an excuse of my mom, and I have to support her. So therefore, I should just stay here for a while. You know? So and I'm an only child, and I'm also very like closed off. So I have a lot of friends that are just like from college, but not a lot of friends that um, are kind of like in the same path that I'm in. So I
Okay.
kind of really didn't have a support to be like, hey, I really want to like shoot this video this weekend. Can you help me? Because they would be like, I'm an accounting major. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anything about that. So I kind of felt very alone, and I had all of these ideas and I didn't know how to execute it, and I didn't know who to ask, and I didn't want to reach out to anyone. So I kind of made the excuse of like, you're just not ready. So just stay here for a couple of years and then meet some people and you'll be ready. But then I never went out to actually meet people. But last year I went to ABFF, which is a African American Film Festival in Miami.
Okay.
So I went there and I made it a mission. Last year I made it a mission to travel solo, to force myself to talk to people, to force myself to like connect to more people. And it's like, this is probably the best advice I could give. I went there and I forced myself to just talk to people. I'm like, well, now you don't have any excuse. You know, every single person here is for film. Like, so you can't, if you leave here and you make no connection, it is all on you. So right. I forced myself to talk to people. I found so many people that live in my area that are doing exactly what I'm doing, who are acting, directing, camera operators. And I was like, I have no excuse now. And that's like my biggest thing is force yourself. If you're not comfortable with, if you're not like an extrovert and you're just not comfortable with talking to people, I would say force yourself to go to those events or to interact with people, that are in your career path, that and try to really make genuine relationships with them. And it took me having to go all the way to Miami, which was like the greatest experience. That festival was one of the greatest experiences of 2018. But it took me doing that to open up and to realize that it wasn't that I just wanted to stay here to take care of my mom. It was that I was really scared of making a leap with the potential of failing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
luckily, I've met a bunch of great people. So I think that I have a better support system, and I'm definitely more active in shooting. I'm shooting a TV show and 2 documentaries right now. So it definitely
Wow.
switched up quickly. Like once I forced
Wow.
myself to talk to people, and I forced myself to network with people within my space.
Yeah, that is such an awesome story. I love how you talked about your experience with going to Miami, like stepping outside of your comfort zone, but not stepping outside your comfort zone, going all the way to another state and then forcing yourself to talk to people, because sometimes that's all it is, just finding a group of people that have very similar interests. And you'll find that people generally like to talk about what they enjoy doing. So if you're putting yourself in that environment, you're more likely to have more conversations because you have something in common. And that's one of the things that it doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. Usually, if you have something in common where there's a connection between you and that person that you're speaking with, you're naturally going to have more natural conversation with them. So finding those kind of groups or events to go to where everybody's very similar, you should be able to find at least one person that's going to be able to help be your mentor, your listening ear, or partner with you if you just put in the effort to open up your mouth, really. You know, and a lot of times you might not even be aware that there are certain groups similar to that in your local city, because you're not naturally aware of everything going on in your city at all times. But you can go online and do some research, look for some events that are going on or seminars going on in that particular area. And then with people that live in the US that are listening to this, we have meetup.com, where you can go on there and find groups of people in almost any interest area, ranging from painting to music to exercise to whatever your interest is, game night. There's so many different meetup groups, and you meet with these people on generally a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, but it's ongoing, and you form really good friendships that way. So take full advantage of that. There's always people out there that have similar interests as you that don't mind talking and sharing with you. It's just sometimes you got to step outside of your comfort zone, step outside your immediate family and friends. That, like you said, you felt like you were going to, talk about your interest in video, and they're accounting major. They're like, okay, that's great, Brittney. I'm gonna go over here and crunch some numbers now. I mean, not to say they don't want to support you, but sometimes when you have, different interests, you don't know how to support the person the best way. So finding like-minded people, whether that's online community or your local community, is so helpful.
And I think that also a lot of people, when they network, they tend to want to network up, or they want to like support like upwards. Like they think that, like, at least in my field, they're like, okay, well, I want to network with the Issa Raes and the Ava DuVernays. And I'm like, there are people within your level
Yeah.
that can all lift up at the same time. I think that a lot of people are just trying to look at like the top, and they're like, okay, well, I want to be there, so I'm going to talk to people who are already there, not realizing that they were in our position and they were talking to their peers that were also in their positions, and they were all lifting each other up to get to where they are now. So I think that a lot of people don't want to talk to people that are on their level, because for some reason they feel like they don't have anything of substance to bring. And there are so many people who are exactly where I am, who have opened my eyes to so many like different resources that I never knew about. And I can't say that somebody above would have gave me that, because they would have assumed that I should already know it. So I think that like definitely networking within your like within your level, I guess, is also very important. To be very realistic, that you're not gonna just find Issa Rae's email and then email her and then your life is going to be great. Like, no, you need to put in that work with people on your level, build up together, maybe collaborate together, make a business together, and then you'll all make it up there, and you'll
Yeah.
reach and climb and bring more people up with you.
Yeah, and what you said is so key because everyone has their unique strength and skill set that even though you're doing something very similar, they might be able to bring in a different perspective, or they might be able to bring in a slightly different gift that you don't naturally know how to do or that you didn't think about doing that now you learn from them. So I think that just taking what you can from everybody, and it doesn't even have to be somebody even on your level. Sometimes it could be someone that is in your mind below you that just came in at the elementary level. You're intermediate. They came in at the elementary level, but what they just learned in their college class, maybe it's new insight that you didn't learn when you were taking that same class. So I think that you can really find a lot of value from just people in general, just ask the right questions and listen.
Very
Can
true.
you talk a little bit about self-care and how that translates into you living out your goals as well? Because we could talk about having, a strong support system all day long. And sometimes our support system is really there for us. And there are a lot of times, maybe even your strongest cheerleader. But if you don't have the energy and the vitality to put the effort into your dreams and the information that you learned, for example, we all know that we've taken, courses or we've done certain things where we attained a lot of knowledge, but we didn't apply the knowledge. So sometimes if you're, stressed out, you're overwhelmed, you're frustrated, you don't know what direction you're going, you don't necessarily apply what you've learned. So it's all important for people to take time and just feed their spirit. So can you talk a little bit about maybe your challenges with self-care and maybe some words of encouragement for somebody that's feeling like, well, Brittney, everything you're saying is great, but I'm just so tired all the time. I can't put in the effort and the energy into making this come to pass because I'm just so tired and exhausted all the time.
I can talk about self-care forever. Because I think self-care is so like internal and external. And like I was saying, that I have had manic depression since 2009 and I refused to take medicine. Last year was the first year I actually took medicine. And I did because I really wanted to get to my goals. And I realized I was super stagnant and I had no one to, like, I would be in bed for hours, days, just in bed, not eating, like all the classic symptoms of somebody who is definitely dealing with depression incorrectly. And
Right.
I sat there and I talked to myself and I was just like, this isn't, like, you're never going to get anywhere if you don't handle you. And so I thought that it was so embarrassing to have to take medicine or to like have to tell a therapist that there's something wrong with me. But I really reached a point where I was like, all right, well, it's March 2018. You want to look at March 2019 and still be sleeping in the same bed? And so I went to the doctors and I talked to my doctor. She was so comforting, and I thought that it would be like a taboo conversation. Like she's like, "Oh my God, are you sure you're okay?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, definitely. Here's some good medication." And like it was just so effortless, and I'm like, "Well, why did I not think it would be this easy?"
Right.
So, like what? And even me doing this interview is because I'm starting to take care of myself more. Because prior to that, I'd probably be just laying in bed on a,
Yeah.
just dwelling on time. And so I think that that's really important. And I also went through a period last year, how everyone was just like, I'm going to cut off all of these. I did it way before it became cool. Like last year, and when I say I had to look at people who, I think that people take longevity as a reason to keep a friendship or to keep a relationship going. And it took me until last year to realize it doesn't matter how long I've known you, if you aren't being a healthy friend for me. And I'm really big on, I make sure to tell people, like, I have depression and a lot of things I physically can't deal with, and a lot of issues I can't put myself in a part of, because if something bad happens or someone tells me something bad, I might be in bed for 5 days. So I can't have that in my space. So I had to
Yeah.
think about the friends that have put me in a space as to where I physically couldn't function for a while. And I had to realize, like, yeah, I may have known you for 10 plus years, but you're not healthy for me anymore. And I can't take care of myself until I remove you from my space. So I definitely went through a lot of periods where I got rid of a lot of people. And I thought to myself, because, you know, in the saying, if everyone's leaving around you, you have to look at yourself. So I was like, maybe it's me. So I went through a whole regret period. And then I realized I had to sit down and I wrote and I talked to myself. I talk to myself a lot. I'm an only child. And I was just like, it's not you. You're taking care of yourself, and you understand what toxicity. Yes, you understand what toxic relationships look like, and you have to remove that for your own well-being. So I think that those are like the internal things that I made sure to put in place, to have a Black therapist who could kind of maybe not relate to everything I say, but I feel more comfortable as to you're able to be more empathetic. Got on medication and removed toxic people and things and situations from my life. And then externally, once I started taking medication, I got more energy. Therefore, I was able to take care of my body. I was able to start working out more. And then I met more people to network with in the gym. So the gym is also a good networking place. I meet a lot of people while cycling. So
yeah.
that goes into the support system. So now I have an external support system of people that I go to the gym with that make sure to keep me accountable of like the things that I want externally. So I think that self-care is definitely very internal and external. And I feel like, at least for me, I had to focus on my internal in order to start really exercising my external self-care.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you said everything that you just said, because you talked about a lot of different things that some people, they struggle with. Like some people struggle with, should I go to a therapist and are they really going to understand me, or are they going to look at me some kind of way? Well, no, that's their job. You know, they're used to hearing so many of the similar issues, and some issues even worse. They're really there to help you. So take advantage of the fact that there are people in this world that are here to help you and help heal you. And then also just thinking about it in terms of, you know, you can use your experiences with depression to also know what you don't want to go back to. So you have something now to compare it to. You know how it feels when you treat yourself the best, when you go to the gym, when you're, you know, around the right type of people, and you feel the drastic change in how you feel about yourself. So then you're more able to stay consistent with treating yourself good, because you know how it feels when you do treat yourself good. I always relate that to sometimes when people will say things to me like, you know, I'm always tired and stressed. And they're so used to seeing everybody around them tired and stressed, and they're so used to being tired and stressed. And it's almost like, well, isn't this kind of normal? Everybody feels like this, right? No, it's not normal. Just because everybody around you is feeling tired and stressed out all the time, that doesn't make it normal. That just means a lot of people that have made it their norm.
I realized how many I think that it's a really good exercise for people to go back in their phone and like kind of search certain words. So one time I searched like tired, literally in my text messages. Do you know how many times I have like used that word? And then I remember talking to my aunt and I was just like, and I go to work, I come home, I go to sleep at like 7. I'm just exhausted all the time. She was like, you're exhausted. You have no kids. You have like, you live alone. Like, why are you so tired? Like I have 2 kids, a husband, like, and I'm just like, I'm exhausted. Like I'm always tired. And it feels normal because you're like, I'm always tired. Like this is a normal thing. You have to really think like, it is not that normal to be as tired as I can't speak for everyone, but for me, like I people like they think it's funny, like, oh yeah, Andrea's always like taking a nap. Like, no, you have to really think. Andrea's always taking a nap. Like that's actually not healthy. So I think that like being able to highlight that, like I don't know, like it's an exercise for me, like to be able to just like type in that word in my phone and see how many times I said I was tired or I just woke up from a nap, and I'm like, okay, you need to get yourself together because you could have been doing so much if you weren't asleep or just. And I think that people think if you're not crying all the time or you're not quote unquote always sad, you're not depressed. And it's like depression comes in so many different forms, like me not being able to get out of bed, me not understanding my feelings, me not eating, me like because I eat like once a day. That is depression. That's not me like trying to be skinny. It's me physically not being able to eat. And I think that people take those and they normalize it, like as you were saying, but no, those are real issues that need to be acknowledged, and you need to start to figure out steps to better that. So
yes, thank you. Yeah, and sometimes it does take someone from the outside to be able to say, well, man, every time I talk to you, you're talking about how tired you are. So paying attention to what people are always saying around you too. I mean, you gotta kind of connect the dots there as well. You know, like, yeah, so you always tired, Andrea. Why are you always tired? Like you said, they're like, you have no kids. It's just you. You're not taking care of a spouse. It's just you. So why are you always tired? What exactly is going on that's making you always tired? And really paying attention to those types of conversations, I think that it can tell you a lot as well. All of us. We tend to sometimes not be able to look at some of our own challenges because it's so close to us, but it's glaring to other people. So thank you for sharing all of that. I definitely want for anyone listening to feel free to share your experiences and your challenges as well. So if you want to connect with me, all of my contact info is in the description box. You can connect with me via my email address on a different social media platform or in my Nutrition for Busy Women Facebook group. We're just not talking about nutrition from a food consumption standpoint. We also talk about it for the mind, body, and soul. So if you need someone to connect with that you feel like you don't have a support system that's able to really understand your needs, you can always join me, and I'm always there to help support ladies. And I also always provide resources to ladies that are struggling in the areas of their purpose. So identifying what your true natural gifts are, identifying what your strengths are, and understanding what your genuine service can be in this world. I'm all about that because I just feel like when we're all doing what we're supposed to be doing, we naturally create a ripple effect, and it positively impacts the next person. So just becoming more in touch with a strong foundation of what are my gifts, what are my talents, what are my strengths, and how can I be of value to the people in my world. I'm all about that. So I said at the beginning of this interview that I would offer you a complimentary gift. I will offer you a free assessment so you can determine what those are, and as well as free resources to help you get there if you're feeling like you're stuck. Brittney, for people that are listening and they are stuck, they're feeling like, I hear everything you're saying. Sounds great. I heard it before. I still feel stuck. I don't know what my next level goal is, and I'm trying as hard as I can to figure it out, but I'm feeling like I don't know where to begin and create momentum for myself. What would you suggest to those ladies that are feeling that level of, I hear what you're saying, but I still feel stuck?
I would first say, I think the first step that I had to take when I was stuck outside of like going to the doctors and getting pills, I looked at my social, and anybody who I found like that was a goal, like a hair goal, fitness goal, I deleted them. I deleted every single person. I deleted anybody who I aspired to be. And I know that sounds weird because it's motivating, but it's also very discouraging because then I started like taking the steps of them. You have to realize that your path is your path. So like I've gone through, no one else is going to go through it the exact same way. And I think that once you understand that, it kind of helps you draft up how to get yourself out of something. I definitely will say that was like my first thing. And then my second thing was I just shot all my shots, and not like the whole like, slide in the deep, like the new age. But with the job that I have now, I was underqualified, but I read the job duties and I was like, I can do all of this. And so I shot those what seemed like impossible shots. So I shot those job shots and I got the job. And so I think that you have to understand that like, just because you don't feel like you meet the mold of something doesn't mean that it's not for you. And so once I started to eliminate people that just look too perfect from my forefront, and I started to just, and even it could just be a joke. Like you can just like wake up and just apply to 5 jobs or just do 5 new things that you just didn't think you can do. And then just watch that some of them will come into fruition. So I think that And that's what I did. I kind of was just on the computer at my old job, and I was like, I'm just going to apply to this job. They're probably going to reject me. And then I got a call, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, this is, and you don't know these things because you're your biggest critic. So you're like, I can't do this. So I think that like understanding that you are the greatest, even before you knew you were, it's kind of like a great first step to being unstuck. And I might not be like the best person because I'm still kind of stuck, but I'm forcing myself to do new things and interact with new people to hopefully, like I said, draft a better future for myself. So
Right. Yeah, and I think the key there too is that you don't know what you can do and what you can't do until you actually try. You know, so like you just mentioned about, oh, I'm just going to, apply for this job. They probably don't want me, and then you end up getting the job. You know, so sometimes just just doing things, just try something new and see what comes of it. And I think that sometimes when you're not as like desperate and needy for the opportunity, those are the times when you see it, actually occur in your life. So
and I
just
think
try new things and you just see what comes of it. Life is an adventure.
people go through a lot of they see so many people on social media like getting so many wins or seeing so many things, and if I could like give you every email, every rejection or denied letter I got in 2018 compared to like the wins, I have failed and I have gotten way more rejection, but people don't highlight that. People don't highlight all of the things that they lost, all of the no's that they got, because that's what Instagram's for. Instagram's not for the depressed. It's for times. So I think that to just understand that everyone's having their issues, everyone's getting no's. So even if you get a no, you're not the first person to get a no.
Yeah.
This person is not going to be your first no. So I think that like you have to really understand that like I have gotten so many no's. It's only been 20 days of 2019 and I've already gotten a couple of no's. So I think you have to understand that life is not perfect and no one's living a perfect life no matter how they depict it.
Yes, and I think that that's so key that you mentioned that. If you are someone that's particularly prone to depression, you need to find probably local support groups as your social network than social media. Because most people use social media as I'm gonna, highlight the good things that are happening around in my life, like you just said. Nobody's gonna get on there and talk about how they made 20 phone calls today and 19 people told me no.
Exactly.
And even if they did, I just wonder like how many people would care. Like if that's all you ever did was talk about all the no's and rejections that you got, people would be like, okay, that's great. We're used to hearing it now. So you're just always being rejected, and they go on with their life. And I don't think it has that much impact. So I think that finding people in your local community that you can have real life conversations with. I always say to people like, what did we do before social media? Are you really saying that you can't find people in your city that you can have real conversations with about what you're going through? Yeah, we can. We just choose not to because social media is so convenient,
Exactly.
So having those real conversations, I think, with people is so vital. And also realizing that, yeah, you're going to have a bunch of no's and failures. Like, for example, you think about Walt Disney. Do you think that Disney World looks like that 30 days after he came up with that dream? No. It was a process. So you go there and you enjoy it now, just like you enjoy a lot of things now, but they had to go through a process to make it look the way that it looks now. That's with any and everything in our lives, so just kind of like being realistic about things and just understanding that it really is a process. So thank you. I appreciate you bringing that up. Anyone listening, as I said, if you want to share your experiences, you want to share some of your challenges, share your failures, share your successes, whatever makes you you, feel free to connect with me. All of my contact info is in the description box, and all of Brittney/Andrea's info is in the description box. So she's open and welcome to people communicating with her and helping to, see you get to where you need to be in life as well. So I always say that if you're struggling in any area and you can't find at least one person, I'll be here to help support you. So just reach out to me. Thank you so much for your time today. And for those of you listening, wherever you are in the world, just always remember to live a life full of meaning and purpose. I'll talk to you soon.